Hi, I'm Lenny Lieben, and I'm here today with Todd Waskelis, who's Vice President with AT&T Cybersecurity Solutions. Why don't we start off first by talking about threat intensity, right? Obviously, we're facing increasing threats because of well-funded state actors. There's a commercial market for stolen data. There's all these attack kits that readily promulgate across the web. So this is pretty serious intensity of threat we're facing.
Yeah, no doubt it's a big issue, right? And every year we see more and more studies saying that there's an increase in attacks in organizations. In fact, the last one I saw was 76% of organizations surveyed had some sort of a data breach, right? And to your point, the kits are readily available. They're easy to download, easy to run. And if you don't have the skill set to do it, or you just don't want to, you can engage with like a crime as a service entity, right? That'll do your advanced DDoS attacks or your ransomware and distribute them out. So between the ease of the attacks and the tools that are out there, the threat motivations from the actors, right? You mix that with the emerging landscape, the connected devices, regulatory pressures. I mean, it's difficult to be an InfoSec professional nowadays.
So let's talk about then on the connected devices side, right? We're not making our lives any easier because in our enterprise environments, we're going to cloud infrastructure and SaaS. We've got mobility. We've got the Internet of Things, which means we're adding vehicles and kiosks and utility meters and who knows what else out there. Maybe we're using software-defined networking. So we've got assets that are constantly in flux. We may not know exactly what they are or where they are, which means we don't know what our threat surface even looks like.
Right, and that threat surface changes daily, right? Sometimes it's a small change. It could be adding users to the network or devices. Sometimes it's more noticeable where we're doing connection to third parties or we're adding new applications, right? Sometimes those shifts are monumental, where we're going to software-defined networking, IoT, connected devices, expanding landscape, cloud services, right? And with each one of those shifts, the commensurate ripple effect, it gets bigger and bigger. And it makes it difficult for organizations to identify and protect those assets. That's only if they know about them.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring up the third party, because I think this is not only sort of true from a technology point of view, but really organizations in general are tapping into services and resources from other organizations sort of to avoid capital investment and to be more flexible. So that means we're more digitally connected to more organizations, which means that our exposure isn't just what we own and what we can see, but our partners as well.
Right. One of the challenges that we see in that is a disconnect between the business and the information security or the cybersecurity group, right? The businesses want time to market, they want a speed service, so they're going and making these relationships and they're making these connections, and they're not bringing the security team along with them. So we encourage our clients to really take a step back and make sure they have a strong digital transformation plan, and that's interlocked with the cybersecurity group so that they're in lockstep working towards the business goals.
And we also don't have an infinite amount of resources to throw at this challenge.
Right, and therein lies the problem, right? So as much as we're seeing the attacks increase, we're also seeing the number of available and skilled workers to fill the roles to protect those environments decrease. And so we've got to look to more automation and orchestration in our security program and postures, especially as we move to more virtualized network functions. We'll see more orchestration play in identifying, protecting, and responding to attacks.
So does this sort of onslaught of threats mean that we're going to shift away somewhat from this notion of we must absolutely stop everything before it hits the perimeter to more of a, we need to sort of time compress the kill chain for that which does penetrate us, whether it's, again, some malware attack or whatever?
I think we're always going to have a need for a layered defense between protect, detect, and respond. But as we move to virtualized network functions and we can move some of those security controls into the network, and we take proper risk management approach and we can do micro segmentation and put the controls closer to the assets, I think we'll see compression in that kill chain.
Tell me a little bit more about this idea of micro segmentation.
So the idea of microsegmentation is essentially as we move critical assets or assets around our network, even in virtualized environments, understanding the impact of disclosure, modification, or loss of those assets, you can identify the proper controls that need to go around them. So you may say, this particular piece of data isn't super critical to my organization, so I won't put all of the controls that I would normally put around my financial data, around some marketing data, right? So instead of all of this perimeter protection, we're putting controls closer to the risk area.
So tell me now then, as a As a VP of a cybersecurity solutions provider, what's the value proposition you bring to the table? Is it your ability to sort of aggregate and allocate human capital? Is it your visibility into what's going on in the world of threats? Is it the fact that you've kind of sussed out a set of technologies and integration of those technologies that really is effective?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all three. So as a global network provider, AT&T has unprecedented visibility into traffic and activity that happens at a global level, and we're able to take that information, correlate it with our clients' events, and give them real, true, actionable information so they can protect their environment a little bit better. But as a lead innovating organization in areas like network virtualization, being able to help our clients migrate to those new technologies is also a play. And we wrap that all with human capital in terms of our consulting capabilities and helping organizations deal with the people process as well as the technology components.
And that people and process, again, speaks to this notion of helping organizations get sort of process wrapped around this notion that cybersecurity is not an afterthought, but it's something that as your business becomes increasingly digital and nimble, you've got to kind of bake right into all your decisions and actions and initiatives.
Absolutely. The security department has to be in lockstep with the business. They have to be able to build an environment and have plans in place to enable the business to accelerate the speed they need to.
Yeah. So let's assume for a moment then that somebody watching this actually does want to engage with you guys. What do they do?
Yeah, it's interesting. AT&T recognizes that cybersecurity is top of mind for every organization, small to global. So we took the initiative last year to train 6,000 of our sellers in information security and cybersecurity so they can have those conversations. So regardless of the size of the organization, because we realize everyone has the challenges, any one of our clients can engage their representative and they'll be able to get us to the table.
Great. Thanks so much, Todd.
Thank you.